Well, hello once again. Today was a day that I know lots of people were looking forward to for very good reasons, and it definitely didn't disappoint. Somewhere up there is Mont Ventoux, and you jumped on your push bike and rode up it because that's the kind of thing you do, David, this morning.
Yeah, I went out just to remind myself, and it was just heaving again, like what to come. The amount of people going up, I had to stop at the bottom for like 5 minutes. The road was that jammed with cyclists. But yeah, it was great. It was good fun coming down, not so much good fun going up.
Did you got all the way to the top, did you, from the Bedouin climb? And did you stop at the Simpson Memorial?
I did.
Have a good look?
Stopped, got a picture.
Excellent.
Yeah. People were using it as like a mini viewing point.
Yeah.
But it's always poignant stopping there.
Absolutely. So much to discuss today. We can unpick what went on in that fascinating stage. It was brilliant action. But first, let's hear from Daniel, who's, I don't know, somewhere on the mountain.
Not up a mountain, Ned, but unfortunately outside the medical truck, which is usually parked just outside the press room, which is the case today down in Malaucène. Why are we here? Well, because, as you may or may not have seen or read, Tobias Johannesson, who of course has been riding high in this Tour de France in the top 10, well, he collapsed at the finish line and or certainly needed oxygen. He needed medical attention. Now, we've seen this before on Mont Ventoux. We saw it in 1970 with Eddie Merckx when he won the stage up there. He also spent the next 10 minutes, 20 minutes or so in an ambulance receiving oxygen with a mask on his face. We saw it with Stephen Roach, of course, famously in 1987 in the Alps. That was La Plagne, I think, which we're going to in a couple of days. But Johannesson, well, he wasn't in a good way after the finish. He then came down here in an ambulance. We've just seen him leave. Big smile on his face, actually, in a foil blanket on a stretcher. He's now been taken to Avignon Hospital, where he's going to have more checks, blood tests, liver tests, and after those, if he's given the all clear, the team will then decide whether he's in a fit state to carry on tomorrow. An eventful day, very eventful day. We saw Jonas Vingegaard as well. He didn't need medical attention, but he was in the wars a little bit after the finish line today. I understand he bumped into a photographer. I think he came down, but he also gave us the thumbs up after the finish. That was a bit of a theme when we saw him, in fact, down at the bus. What else today? Well, an incredible stage. Valentin Paris-Peintre. I watched the finish in the press room today. Logistics were difficult. It was a bit of an unusual day. And then we did our interviews at the bus. In the press room, there was a huge cheer from the French journalists, which you don't often see at the Tour de France. It's not really the done thing, to be honest, to cheer for riders, whether they're of your nationality or not. But certainly that was a very popular victory in the press room. In the GC fight, we saw Vingegaard and Visma try again, fail to dislodge Pogacar, and we saw a very brave effort again from Oscar Onley. Brave and, well, a pretty effective effort from Oscar Onley. He lost a little bit more time to Lipovic, and he's got Primoz Roglic, the Rogmontada. I've been talking about it. It's coming, it's been coming, and it continues. He's moving inexorably sort of onto Onley's shoulder, and well, the Scotsman is going to have to deal with those two, that dynamic duo from Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe, over the next few days, and well, try to think of a way to repel Roglic, certainly, if he's going to defend his fourth place in the Alps.
Well, we didn't come on air for the whole stage today because part of the ITV contract means that we can't, so we have to decide which stages to shorten. And we took a punt back in June that this might be quite a formulaic day, you know, long flat approach, big climb at the end, rubbish breakaway goes, not let up the road much. Well, it couldn't have been more different today, and I think a lot of that was down to the yet another day where the wind blew and it was a cross tailwind.
Yeah, I mean, it was very much formulaic of this year's Tour de France. I mean, they got to the bottom of, well, they got to Bedouin, which is effectively the foot of Ventoux, with a 50 kilometre an hour average again. And it meant that what we expected was a smallish kamikaze break to go early on, and then it to be controlled by UAE, because we presumed that Pogacar would want this kind of iconic stage win on his Palmares, but it was impossible to control. It ended up with such a big group up the road. So many teams invested once again in the attempt, because I think also they would have been encouraged from Arensman's victory on Super Bagnaia, and so it really did light the race up, and the script was ripped up.
I wonder whether Tadej Pogacar was not feeling 100% confident today, because Niels Pollitt was put on the front, but he was always fighting a losing battle there. That time gap just went out to such a distance. And they did have Tim Wellens, who they could have maybe just sacrificed and used at that point before, but they didn't use him. And I'm wondering whether Pogačar was just a little bit unsure as to what to do.
I think we're so accustomed to him being the cannibal that we expect him to chase these, but I think we're really seeing a side of him at this Tour de France where he's racing a little bit conservatively. He's doing what he has to do. I mean, the logical move for him is to do as little as possible. In many ways, that move that went up the road was perfect for the yellow jersey and for UAE. They had 2 riders in it. They had Soler and Sivakov in there, which was good because they're not climbing so well, so they'd be ahead of the race.
It was good in paper.
Good in paper.
In practice,
not in practice. It was terrible. But it was, so it was telling to see that they just used Politz. And actually it was telling throughout the day that UAE are not looking good as a team, whereas Visma Lease Bike today were stellar. I mean, I think they really did a textbook day of racing, and in many ways it's redeeming some of the criticism that they've received in this early part of the race.
But then for the last 3 or 4 years we've been witnessing precisely this phenomenon at the Tour between these two teams, haven't we? You think that, well, they're on the decline, and then the next day they'll bounce back and do something special, and the other team will be ragged and all over the place. So who knows?
No, who knows? And it could be, I mean, the way UAE are racing, there is always this kind of natural sort of up and down, ebb and flow of teams. And there's a very strong chance that if they're thinking, well, the big day we have to get through is La Loz, let's focus all our energy on this, let the race take care of itself today. The Mont Ventoux stage, it's not a priority, La Loz is, and then we might see them all guns blazing again.
All right, now what about the race at the front? Ebbed and flowed, didn't it? We had Arendsman looking perfectly placed, we had Enric Mas off the front, but then everything changed.
We had Arendsman down to do a repeat, to be honest, and Enric Mas, we predicted exactly what would happen.
He did exactly Enric Mas move.
Yeah, so no, there was a moment where I thought, ooh, have I got this wrong? But we hadn't. It was classic Enric Mas. But the race behind was phenomenal. I don't think I've ever seen such an exciting final few kilometres of a mountaintop.
Great,
I mean, they may as well have been on the flat.
Yeah.
The way it was stopping, there was cat and mouse, there was attacking, counter-attacking, teammates coming up, contributing, other riders making it back on, getting dropped, coming back. I mean, it was just fabulous racing.
Yeah, and Pete made a point in the live show that I thought was very good about, it's a bike race, it's not a video game. Actually, it was a video game when Enon van Wilder suddenly appeared, and it's like, you have extra power.
Yeah. It was Elon. We hadn't seen him the whole of the Ventoux. We thought he was like 15 minutes behind. Then he just appeared from nowhere at exactly the moments that Paris-Pant needed him. Yeah,
and indeed, had he had the legs, Healy, it would have benefited everyone.
Yeah, it did.
It took them to the line, and they sprinted on the top of Ventoux, which is just special, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think Paris-Pant, we saw Healy and him attacking each other, but Paris-Pant, the speed he was getting back onto Healy, I think already I think the writing was on the wall that he had the quicker sprint, the better jump. I mean, Healy did a fantastic ride again, and I think it's when we saw him last year at the Tour de France where he was tacking all over the place, didn't get the results, and the wheels completely fell off in the final week. So it's great to see him coming into the final week and still backing it up.
Well, Soudal Quickstep on the quiet and sort of unnoticed have done a brilliant Tour de France, haven't they? They've held a distinctive jerseys. They've got an individual time trial stage win. They've got a bunch sprint stage win, and now they've got a fantastic, the most iconic breakaway stage in Valentin Paris-Pant. A high time we heard from him.
Valentin, you rode very well today, very patiently. Just tell us how you won that stage.
How I won that stage, it's hard to say. We went to Ventoux with this breakaway, and I was thinking, maybe I can win today. I may be the best climber in this breakaway, so I asked to my teammate Pascal and Ilan to make a good pace at the bottom, and then I try so many times to drop Healy, but he was really strong, and at the end, I was just thinking, I wait for the sprint and we'll see if I can win. And then I won.
How does it make you feel? You've lost Remco. The team has lost a little bit its direction, but now you've brought them a stage win, and that must really change everything for your team.
Yes, for sure. These last few days we went through a little storm, I guess, and now the sun shine again. I can say it's really amazing for me and for the team to win another stage of 4 stages in this tour, and then tomorrow it's a sprint we hope so we can maybe win again.
Well done, super.
So Valentin Paré-Peintre going one better than his older brother Aurélien, who is yet to win a stage of the Tour de France. Maybe we'll see that in the days to come. David, you noted, well, you could see it on the television pictures, the crowds were bonkers today, weren't they? I mean, properly bonkers.
Properly bonkers. I mean, I got to Bedouin, which is at the foot, about 5-6 hours before the race was supposed to go through there, and it was just rammed.
Yep.
And then it was, again, just like a mass migration up the slopes. It was a bit too much, to be honest with you. But I did see the famous Beefeaters. Yeah, I did see them. A little bit disappointed though on the lower slopes.
Yeah.
They were there.
Let themselves down there, didn't they? Let's hear from Andy from those famous Beefeaters.
Hi there, yeah, I'm Andy. I'm one of the Tour de France Beefeaters. We've been doing this since 2009, and what we try and do is give a little bit of like kind of UK representation in dressing as Beefeaters. And what I think you can see is we try and bring different nations together, young, old, partying, a good atmosphere, and just celebrating cycling and what's good in the world. So yeah, big event.
Thanks very much, Andy. Good stuff from the Beefeaters once more. Right, online questions. Quite windy. David, can you hold that so I can actually read it? Thank you. Stage 16, Steve Barrod. Barrod. How does the caravan get from one stage to another? Do they trundle along the auto routes or are they transported on lorries? They drive the roads.
No, we see them transported on lorries.
They also drive the roads.
Yeah, there's a big depends on the vehicle. It's like a
depends,
strawberry
some of the
or
really
something. Yeah,
the
it's on a
Orangina
truck.
bottle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, although it is a feature of the final transfer to Paris, isn't it? That eventually, in the depths of the night, the only people on the road are in the Tour de France.
Yeah.
And you end up passing sort of wobbly chickens
it's
and
mad.
It's big bears and stuff like that. Ian Bates says, who's going to win tomorrow? What will be the winning gap in Paris? Well, it should be a bunch sprint tomorrow. Should be. But
should be. It's
windy again.
Windy again. So who knows?
We don't know.
No,
We're
don't
very
know.
bad at predicting the future. What will be the winning gap in Paris? Well, at the moment it's 4 minutes and 15 seconds. My guess is it's either going to be more or less.
Yes, I think I'm with you on that.
Or exactly the same.
Probably
That's
somewhere
unlikely.
between 4 and 5 minutes.
We don't know. Tune in, it's the only way of finding out. Wheel thing, -DTFKF, something like that. By the end of the tour, they would have done how many metres climbed? I know the answer.
Yeah.
Because it's written here.
Oh yes, nice.
Yeah. It is total. It's astonishing, actually. 49,970 vertical metres, and that is 5.5 Everests.
Yeah, a lot of millimetres.
An amazing amount of millimetres. By the way, if that slightly floored you, that millimetre comment, if you want to hear more about millimetres and our new measurement that we've invented, the gigametre, and the megametre, all of that will be discussed on tonight's Never Strays Far podcast that we, Pete, Alex, David and I will do in the car on our transfer. So do have a listen to that because there's some first-rate millimetre chat coming your way. But yeah, 49,950 vertical metres. Alex Marr says, Abrahamson is on Uno X's Ridley Aero bike for the Ventoux stage. Why would that be an option over the lightweight climbing bike?
Well, for starters, I don't think it's going to make much difference to him because the climb, he's going to get dropped on because of his size. And we saw it was 50 kilometre an hour average to the bottom of the climb, and that's where Jonas Abrahamson role within the team lies, to make sure he delivers his teammates to the bottom of the climb. But we're seeing more and more riders on aero bikes throughout the stage because the weight's just dropping. That was the only reason not to use them in the past, but now they're getting the super aero bikes down to almost the legal weight.
Maybe we're going to get to the point where people just have a bike.
I think it's getting to that point.
It does everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's possible. All right, yesterday on the Rest Day show, Gary and Daniel addressed an issue which absolutely needs addressing, very important, surrounding the allegations that have arisen over recent days concerning what went on in Ineos going back a decade. And here's a look at that subject.
So Dave Brailsford must feel as though he's never been away. The mastermind behind 7 Tour de France victories in 8 years from 2012 to 2019, Brailsford has hardly been seen at the Tour since 2021. Ineos announced his return days before this year's race, and almost immediately he found himself facing and declining to answer similar questions to the ones that became the mood music for the end of his first stewardship. A few weeks before the Tour de France, a documentary by German national network ARD made alarming allegations about an Ineos member of staff who has been with the team almost since its inception. ARD reproduced text messages it says were between the individual in question and the German doctor Mark Schmidt, who in 2021 was sentenced to nearly 5 years in jail for doping athletes from 2012 to 2019. An ARD journalist was present at Schmidt's trial when the text messages were read out, and we have seen the reporter's transcripts. They included a series of messages exchanged in the weeks prior to the 2012 Tour de France. In that race, Team Sky riders Bradley Wiggins and Chris Froome would finish first and second. It should be clarified that nothing in the ARD allegations directly links Wiggins or Froome to Schmidt or doping, and there is no suggestion of wrongdoing by either of them. In one message attributed to the former Sky and still current Ineos employee, he asked Schmidt whether he still has, quote, any of the stuff that Milram used during the races. If so, can you bring it for the boys? Milram was the German team in which Schmidt and the individual worked together in 2009. Schmidt was arrested in 2019 when one of his patients or clients, the Austrian cross-country skier Johannes Dürr, blew the whistle on his clandestine activities. Police subsequently conducted raids on several of Schmidt's alleged clients, literally walking in on one, the Austrian Max Hauke, when he was in the middle of a blood transfusion, a syringe sticking out of his arm. At the very least, the allegations will have troubled and embarrassed Ineos. They also invite further scrutiny of the team's zero-tolerance policy on employing individuals known to have been associated with doping. On Thursday, in response to our repeated requests, the team issued this statement. Ineos Grenadiers cycling team is aware of recent media allegations relating to the 2012 season and a member of its staff. These allegations have not to date been presented to the team by any appropriate authority. However, the team has made a formal request to the International Testing Agency to request any information it considers relevant. The team reiterates its policy of zero tolerance to any breach of the applicable WADA codes, historic or current. Contacted on Saturday, a spokesperson for the International Testing Agency told us they couldn't comment on Ineos' request for information. They added that new evidence received from German authorities early in 2025 had not allowed them to refer potential cases to cycling's governing body, the UCI, pointing to the 10-year statute of limitations on doping offences. Any action against the Ineos staff member would depend on new evidence being presented to the ITA.
To date, they have not been charged with any offence.
Well, ever since I've been involved in this sport, going back to the Lance Armstrong era, I think it is vital that whenever issues like that arise in the public arena, they do get thoroughly debated and looked at. And I think that's been the responsibility and the duty of the ITV team ever since they've been going, and I've been part of it. So that was in that spirit very much. Let's have a look at the general classification picture, David. Not much has changed, has it?
No. Before it's taking a bit more time on Onley.
Yeah, that's settled now, isn't that?
Yeah,
feels very
settled. Feels very. But it's another amazing ride from Onley, because today would have been a terrifying day for him, I think.
Yeah.
And Roglic is chipping away,
isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Oscar Onley is going to have to be looking over his shoulder a little bit, and he'll find the formidable presence of Primož Roglic just rising up through the rankings, which is interesting in itself. Other than that, Ben Healy has leapfrogged Carlos Rodriguez once again in this strange little battle for 9th and 10th place, and Tadej Pogačar has added a wholly unnecessary 2 seconds to his lead over Jonas Vingegaard in GC. That's it then from not quite Mont Ventoux, but as I say, not too far from Mont Ventoux on a windy, hot and dramatic day. Do tune in again as we go to the Tour tomorrow, which is a terrible way to sign off. Gary Imlach would have done that much better.